Deuce close. Mastering Madden.
So this money concept is something that you can use right now. Okay, whether you're using my Detroit Lions, offensive scheme that, by the way, the second part to that is coming, within the next few days or so, or if you're running your own scheme. Okay, this is something that you can put into it right now, whether it's the formation you're running, I think it'll work in most of them, or just another formation. So I'm just looking for some sort of trips formation. You could probably do it out of other doubles looks and stuff like that, but this is just what I like to do it out of. So I'm just gonna go a Y off trio weak here in the Saints playbook, and I'm just gonna come out in any play. Okay, this is a great concept because it's something we can make with hot routes. Okay, so the concept is simply on the weak side here, we're gonna streak our wide receiver, and we are going to wheel our halfback and motion him outside. Okay, so we can do that at any play. I'll do that at Saints curls. And I'm gonna come out in 3-3-5 odd. By the way, of course, you'll be able to use this against linebacker, cross 3, show 2, that crazy blitz. But for the purposes of demonstration, I'm just gonna come out in the stock cover 3. And you're always going to see cloud flats. Don't really know, I don't know. I think curl flats are a little bit better this year, but cloud flats seem to be still the move. And then you also see the protect the sticks because people don't want to get burnt deep, even though that makes the corners kind of useless in this case. But anyway, that's what people do. Cloud flats, a lot of cases hard flats, and then the protect the sticks. Some might even deep half these cornerbacks. But what we are gonna look to do is exploit that zone behind the shallow intermediate zones and in front of the deep zones. Okay, so that same area that you exploit with the deep crossers, you're gonna do the same here, except now we don't have to actually look for a play with a deep crosser, we can just create it out of anything. Okay, so we streak or fade that wide receiver, we put our halfback on a wheel, and then we motion him out to that left side. So this is a good two-man route concept that's gonna beat any sort of cover 3, unless your opponent is starting to do some adjustments there in terms of maybe manning up the wheel route or using that themselves. But then at that point, you've kind of won, right? You want to get your opponent out of their comfort zone. You want them to start checking into different coverages or different adjustments that they don't necessarily want to do. And then on the other hand, you have 3 other receivers here. Right? You can block the tight end if you don't like that looping blitz. You want to get a little bit more protection there. You can do something on this other end, but we'll get to that. And then on this side, let me just spy that defensive end because they are, a little crazy in practice mode. You just wait for him to clear that zone, and you got huge acres of space here. And then if you have Barry Sanders, you could easily spin one of those guys. Okay, so that was, what was that, 40 yards or so? Really, really easy stuff, and that's gonna happen every single time. Okay, so there is clearly, a fundamental problem with how some of these underneath zones are playing in this game. Okay, so it's not that crossing routes are OP this year, it's that they just happen to hit that spot that no zones can cover. And although to me it seems like it'd be an easy fix, just, make some of those clouds drift deeper, or maybe the curl flat drift deeper before they come back down. I think they did last year. In this case, there's that sweet spot that's always going to be open. Okay, so in the meantime, you might as well go ahead and exploit that. So again, this adjustment is streak that solo receiver. And by the way, you'll want him on the boundary here. Okay, it works better if this wheel is kind of tighter over there. And then of course you have more room to work with on this side. You wheel him before you motion him, and then you motion him. Okay, and all you have to do is just wait for him to clear that underneath zone, and you got acres and acres of space there. And then on the other side here, you got other great things. You got, let me make these adjustments. You can just do a simple curl flat combination here, which is severely underused in my opinion. Okay, for me, that's my go-to on if I need a key third down conversion or something like that. I'm always going to that, and it's always working, and nobody's ever trying to use that themselves. See how simple that is? So right away there, just with hot routes, you have 2 really good ways of exploiting cover 3, and again, cover 3 is really the main thing that you're coming up against here. Okay, so that is one concept I really like. Let's show it one more time for good measure. Show you guys it is obviously not a buggy thing. It just happens consistently. So you have, of course it's going to be even easier if you're coming up against hard flats, and even easier if your opponent is doing that setup where they're blitzing this slot corner here, and then using this guy, and this guy's the loop. So they even have nobody there, and all you have to do is just make that quick read there. So it's really simple stuff. Like these 3-3-5 odd and these dollar blitzes really aren't that complex. You just need to exploit those areas that they're not covering. Sorry, they're either not covering because they're leaving open trying to get that extra man in for the heat, or they're not covering because those underneath zones are essentially broken, not playing the way that they should be playing. Okay, so yeah, that's just the concept for today. Again, streaking your solo side wide receiver and motioning out a halfback wheel is going to do wonders against a lot of these cover threes that you're coming up against. And then of course, the reason why it's so good is because you can make it out of any formation. These are just out routes, and then you have 3 receivers left to work with, whether we want to block them or make a 3 receiver route concept or what have you. Okay, so I hope that helps you guys out. Keep on the lookout for the next part of the Detroit Lions playbook. And until then, we'll see you next time.